back to Wargaming World and to a new theatre, Operation Torch, French North Africa, November 1942, and a game of Chain of Command. And so it's a new theatre for me to play this period, and so it's a couple of new armies to deploy. We've got the Americans. We've got the Americans' 1st Division, the big red one, and we also have a Vichy French force. So let's have a look at the scenario and the forces. And so for this game we have a blend of cultures. We've got France in North Africa with this church here, and the Americans are approaching from behind the church. You'll just see the road here into this open area, and the operation is to clear all of these particular buildings, but the main objective is we have the French HQ here, and further along they want to make sure that they clear the hill, these buildings, just to make sure there are no French forces hiding in them. Now, as a result, I've put out quite a lot of support to the forces. I think in terms of an invading force, we need some good options. So we've got an M3 here, along with a Grant tank and mortar, and also, although the French are slightly depleted in terms of numbers for the Vichy forces, some good support as well with a 75mm gun. We've got a Hotchkiss machine gun and a mortar as well. So let's go into a little bit of detail of both forces. Start by taking a lot of the French, and we've got 2 sections, not 3, for their Vichy forces. We've got a light machine gun, and we've also got 4 rifles. We then have 3 rifles as a second team and 1 junior leader. And the reason why we've only got 3 as opposed to 4 is that I've put together a larger force in terms of their firing for their VB team. So we've got 4 men and their own junior leader. Slightly improved the force there. I'm going to say we've got 2 senior leaders. We're not going to have any as an inferior leader. So thrown in a medic. That would normally just be 1 point. And then for support, we've got our 75mm gun along with a junior leader. We have a Hotchkiss machine gun with 5 crew, Senegalese forces. And again, we've then got our mortar, 60mm mortar, 4 crew and a junior leader. Finally, for this game, you'll see as well I have an entrenchment, so at some point the 75mm gun will be in there. The big red one, we have 3 sections. We've got our bar team here. We've got 8 infantry with Grant rifles, and we've also got our junior leader. There is, we also have our 2 senior leaders, and 1 with a submachine gun. I'm just going to have this one with a pistol. Back there we've got our M3. Now I've got some machine guns on there, so we're going to have that. Some of the one of the teams will be on the truck as we advance. We've got the Grant tank, and also we've got a mortar with 5 crew. So those are the 2 forces. There's quite a lot of support out there. Slightly disproportionate perhaps to normally the army lists, but yes, it's going to be my first game of this period, and want to show off both the table and lots of the new forces which I haven't used beforehand. So yeah, let's have a look at the game, and let's start off with the patrol phase. Okay, so we're playing a delaying action, and I've added a market to the building, so that's what's slightly different from when I started the video. It's delaying action, so we have the French force. We're going to do the patrol phase, so we've got 3 dice there that are within 36 inches. So the way you look at it is 6 inches by 36. Must be a minimum of 6 inches away from each other, so you'll see there that we've got 1, 2 and 3, just behind the cows there. So that's the what will be the French starting point. Way down the other end, we've got the Americans, those 4 markers there. So I'll start the patrol and show you where the jump-off points are at the end. Right, well, really looking forward to playing this game, but here are the 3 blue markers for the French, but the French are deployed some way back. So on the side of this wadi, so it gives them a lot of width. Then you go back to the original 6 inches by 36, so we're inside this building, which is the objective for the Americans to take ultimately. I've taken the roof off that one, but I might put it back on if they're firing from the roof. And thirdly, we've got this one in here. Forward with the Americans, I thought. So we've got some width with this jump off point here. We've got one on the other side of the church, just there. And finally, on the other side, the jump off point here. So, there we go, that's the setup, and now on with the game. Let's check force morale. All the way through the game is going to be green dice for the Americans, blue for the French. So, Americans on 11, French on 9. Phase 1 of turn 1, and the Americans to go first. What have we got? So we've got a double phase. So just to say at the start, double phase, I'm going to repeat it only once, and one of the rules here is that you can't fire twice. Right, so obviously 3, we've got the half track onto the table. 2, we've got a unit out, and right at the front I've got this senior leader. That's the second phase. So waste of the 6, we've got 2 4s, 1 and a 2. So I'm going to move the half track, get 3d6 for movement, plus we're on roads, so it's going to be an additional 6 inches, 2 inches per dice. And so we get 10, 16 inches in total, where it gets 2. And so we're going to move with one of the 2 4s. I'm not going to bring on the other senior leader. And with this one, we're just going to move normally with 2d6 past the building and into the cover there of the rocks. 7 in total. French phase. 2 to the chain of command dice, a 3 and a 4. I'm going to pass on that as the French. And move straight to the Americans. 1 to the chain of command dice. 2 1s, a 3 and a 4. Right, with a 4, the senior leader is going to order a scout team forward. So that's 2 men who can move 2d6 and still be tactical. With the remainder, he's going to order the rest of the units to move tactically, taking position and cover in the rocks. Okay, with the 3, I'm going to bring the Grant on, and it's also on Overwatch. The 1, I've brought on a mortar team. D6 for the scout team. 6 inches, and so that's where the scouts get to, and so we're over to the French. So we've got, there's some really good numbers there. 1, 2, 2 3s and a 4. So with the 3, I've brought on the mortar and junior leader, and with the 1 and 2, I've put that together to do the same for the VB team. So they're both going to fire and mortar the Americans behind this rock emplacement. And I really did and ah about what to do here, but instead, in the end, I've decided to deploy the 75mm gun. It's an entrenchment in front of this house. Put the senior leader out there as well, and it's going to have a go and fire at the Grant. The Grant is on Overwatch, so it can fire back, but it's a bit all or nothing. So the 75mm gun firing, definitely a hit. So armour piercing of 5 against an armour of 5. 5s and 6s, green dice is the Grant. So that looks like no effect at all. Right, the Grant will fire back. We'll fire with the hull, so that's 6 dice, and also fire with the machine gun at the top there with 6 dice as well. 4 5s and 6s. So that looks like 3 hits in hard cover with the entrenchment and the gun shield. However, it's high explosive, so it's going to be essentially soft cover, so 6 to kill, 5s and 6 will be shock, no effect. And the machine gun needs 5s, so that is 2 hits. That's hard cover, so that's 1 kill. Is it the leader? No, it's not. So we've got 4 men with the VB. Normally it'd be 2 dice each, however it's half effect first time, so it's 4 dice needing 5s. And that's 3 hits. They're in hard cover. We've got 2 teams, so I'm going to say that the blue dice is the bar team. They are in hard cover, but because it's high explosive, it's going to be 4-5 is shock, 6 to kill. And that's a casualty, so we've got 1 man killed off the rifles, and another point of shock. So it's the leader. No. And the 60mm mortar, 3 hits, just as before. And we've got another one killed in the rifles. Again, is it the leader? No, it's not. So that's the end of that phase. The French lost 1 man. They've showed their hand certainly up at the top there, and a mortar team, and we've started to take some casualties amongst the Americans here behind the rocks. So over to the Americans. So 1 to the chain of command dice. I'm going to take that up to 2, and then we've got a 1, 2 2s and a 3. So with the 1 I'm going to get this mortar team to fire at the French mortars. With the 4 I'm going to get the 2 2s I should say, make it into a 4, senior leader to take off the point of shock, get the scout team to move forward again, and to get this unit to fire back at the mortars that have been firing on them. And with the 3 we're going to return fire with the whole gun and the machine gun firing at the French 75mm. Right, so American mortar first of all needing 4s, and we've got 1 hit. It's on this VB team. They would be in soft cover perhaps, but it's high explosive, so it's just 3-4 will be shock, 5-6 to kill. Nothing. With this team I'm going to say the bar team and 3 rifles can fire, so it's 6 dice in total, range needing 5s. And that is just 1 hit. From where this unit is firing, I'm going to say it's hard cover, in fact, for the French VB team, and no effect. The scout team, they're going to go 2d6 and minus the lowest dice because they're going over the wall. 6 inches. This time it's the tank, 6 dice, firing high explosive at the French 75mm, needing 4s. And that's 3 hits, 4-5 for shock, 6 to kill. And that's 1 kill. Is it the leader? No. Machine gun from the tank, needing 5s this time, and that is 2 hits, hard cover. That means we have actually no effect. Well, the Americans are on the attack, but hardly moved forward at all there, so yeah, we're over to the French. Phase, and we've got a wasted 6, and then we've got a 1, a 3 and 2 2s. Well, I'm definitely going to use the 3 here to fire again at the tank. I'll put the 1 and the 2 together here so the VB team can fire again, so this time it will be 8 dice at the same target. And I've still got a 2. I'm not sure how I might use that. I might bring a section out, I don't know. Let's see whether we can knock the tank out first of all. Right, I think it's a 4 this time. The tank certainly is stationary, but let's see what we get. It's an 8, it's certainly a hit. So 5s. It certainly looks like 3 for the French and 2 for the Americans. Plus 1, 5. So the consequence of that is 1 point of shock, and the gun sights are hit. And it's -1. Now I think that really is referring to the fact that it's against another tank to hit, but I'm going to apply this here, so the -1 I'm going to say is instead of 4 5s and 6s to hit, it's going to be 5s and 6s. VB team firing here at that American unit. Got 8 dice this time, leaving 5s and 6s, and that's 4 hits. No, 3 hits, sorry. 1 on the bar team, 2 on the rifles, which is green, and we are in hard cover. It's an explosion, so it's essentially soft cover. So we end with a point of shock on each team. And with the 2, I'm going to deploy this section. Some are in the house, and the rest are on the roof. All I've got is the machine gun that can fire on the American mortars with 6 dice. 6 dice needing 5s. That's 1 hit. Soft cover. Nothing happens. American phase. 5 is 1 to the chain of command dice taken up to 3. Then we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. With a 3, the junior leader is going to order, or he's going to take a point of shock off and then fire the whole gun. Now it's with 5s and 6s. The 1 and 2 together and get this half track moving. Senior leader is going to take off the 2 points of shock and order the unit to fire as it did before. 6 dice needing 5s. And that gives us 2 hits. Got 2 teams. The blue dice will be the Senegalese team. And essentially say that's hardcover, so there's no effect there. So we've got 3 dice for this. You would, if it was on roads, it would get plus 2d6 for each. But it will come off the road. So I'm going to do the first dice. See how far that goes. 1d6 plus 2. 4 inches there, so I'm going to have another dice plus 2, 7 inches, and another d6 off road, 3. Might have made an error with my calculation, but one way or the other it might be an inch either way, but this is where the half track gets to offer support to this unit. Now the hull mounted high explosive, now needing 5s and 6s, it's going to be just 1 hit. French in soft cover. 3, no effect. So the game is beginning to take shape. We've got the advance of our half track to support the Americans. They've still got 2 units to come on. French have now deployed 1 unit in this particular building, and making the assumption that you would have the second up there at the hardest point where we've got our 75mm gun, which is taking some casualties, and then at the back here of this wadi we've also got some mortar teams. So that's where we are as we go into the next phase, which is the French phase. Right, so we have 2 5s, that takes us up to 4 on the chain of command dice, and then we've got 2 and 2 3s. So we'll have our VB team fire again. It's going to be the last time with the existing grenades, which I think only have 3 in total. I'll double check that then. 3 over here, we're going to fire again with our 75mm, and as before with the 2, we're going to fire again with this machine gun team. Start with the MG team, needing 5s, and that looks pretty good. So that's 4 hits against the American mortar in soft cover, and that looks like 2 points of shock. Firing at the tank once again. It's another hit. Yeah, we've got 5s versus 5s, and that looks very much better for the Americans. Yes, it is, so nothing happens. VD team, needing 5s, and that is 2 hits. Blue dice is the bar team, and we've got 1 point of shock. Over to the Americans, wasted 6, we've got 1, 2 2s and a 4. So with the 4, I'm going to get the senior leader take a point of shock and get the units to move forward, and he'll move with it, and then we'll also, the other order will be to move the scout team. With the 2, I'm going to bring on another unit at the back there, same route as this original one has taken, and with the 2 and the 1 we're going to make it a 3, and again we'll fire with the tank. Tank firing needing 5s and 6s. And that just looks like 1 hit. Effectively in soft cover, no effect. Now I have a 3 actually, so I will fire with this machine gun. I'm going to be sympathetic with the tank. I'm going to say that the 2 main guns have been impacted, but the machine gun I'm going to say we can still fire as was. So that was 5s and 6s, and that's 2 hits. It's now in hard cover against the machine gun, but it's still a kill. Is it the leader? No, it's not. Down to 2 men and the junior leader. Now they're in a difficult spot there, rocks, etc. So I'm going to say it's 2d6 minus the lowest dice. It's still 6 inches. And the scout team is going to move 2d6. It's still effectively tactical. 5 inches. Now you might well think, why would I move them exposed into this spot? But the reality is, they don't know, really. The French, I know they've been firing with this machine gun. That's the scout team, that's the purpose of them. So, yeah, they're still tactical, and they've moved into that position. Okay, and with the 2, I've got that second unit out there, supporting the Americans as the others advance. French failures, and that's not great this time. So we've got 2 5s, takes us to a chain of command dice. Wasted 6 and 2 2s. I haven't really got much option other than get the 2 2s together to a 4, and the senior leader ordering the gun to fire again. French really just need to knock this tank out, other than no real other ability of doing so, and that's an 11, so that's certainly a hit. I thought that might be a critical hit, but it isn't. It needs to be a double 6 if it's unmodified. So 5s again. Let's see what happens. I can see 3 for the French and 2 for the Americans. What's the outcome of that? With 1 difference, a 6, and so 2 shock is the consequence of that. Obviously the Americans. That looks useful. 3 2s, a 3 and a 4. So what happens next? So the 2 means that I'm going to move the American unit forward, as I am with the other 2, bring on a new leader and bring on a new section. And with the 3 at the back, we've got the tank, so I could reduce the shock by 1 and fire. However, that isn't exactly what's going to happen next, because if you remember, the French have 1 chain of command dice, and therefore the gun's going to interrupt. And with 2 shock on the American tank, this could be significant if it hits, and it does, as before, needing 5s. Now I can see 1, 2, 3 French and 1 American. And with a difference of 2, it's a 3. And with that, it's 2 shock, and the junior leader is wounded, and that's it. This tank is knocked out because the shock is now 4. Now I actually think that's 3 bad things, because I think it's a support unit routes, the junior leader wounded, and a junior leader routes from the board. So let's roll for each. Junior leader wounded, 5. Junior leader wounded on a 5 is a -1. Junior leader routes on a 4, I think, is -2. It's -2, so therefore at -3, and then support routes. That's a 2, which is a -1, so -4 in total, so the American's down to 7. So the tank is smouldering away there, and that certainly was a good interruption from the French. So that's changed the situation. So with a 3, I'm going to use the junior leader that's on this half track. It's got a 50 cal at the front, and it's going to fire at the French gun, and then everything remains the same. So I need to do some rolls to see how far people move. Let's start with a 50 cal, 10 dice needing 5s, and I can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. French in hard cover. It does have armour piercing, but it's 5 for shock, 6 to kill. Right, that's 2 killed, which, unless it's the junior leader, means that we have that support unit wiped out, so we need to do a bad thing as well. Is it the leader? Yes, it is. 1, 2, 3, it's the junior. 4, 5, 6, the senior. Junior leader, and what happens to him? He gets a light wound, and his command will go down to 1. Also down to 1 man manning the gun. A bad thing. Junior leader wounded on a 6. I think that's a -2. It is a 6, and therefore the French are down to 7. So front unit over the wall. Use the lowest dice, so it still goes 6 inches. Going to use this unit at the double. 3 dice, 12 inches. And so the senior leader comes on, It's close enough to take the 2 points of shock off that unit in front, and we've got the final section at the back, which appear they're okay coming on a 2. The remainder of that section are actually in the half track. So, end of that, we go to the French. French phase, good numbers, 2 1s, 2 2s and a 3. Well, this gun's going to fire again. The really unusual thing about it is that it keeps getting people killed, but it actually hasn't taken any shock. So, we've still got the junior leader and 1 man, so that's still going to fire. With a 2, the section is going to fire at the 2 squad members that have appeared. There is a window actually on the side facing there, so I think we could probably end up firing with about 4 rifles. And over here, junior leader can order the mortar to fire, and then we can also fire with 3 men, 4 men. Well, the options are to move and fire at half effect, I think, with this team firing at the Americans as they are advancing. So we'll start with the 75mm. 75mm firing at the half track. That's definitely a hit. Armour of 3 against armour piercing of 5. What's the output there? Actually, it's fine. The Americans 2 to the French 1. This unit has moved, so therefore we're going to have just 2 rifles firing. Firing at half effect, needing 5s, and there's 1 hit. Americans in the open, and that's a kill. Is it the leader? Yes, it is. Can't see the senior leader, so we're going to say it's just going to be the junior leader. What happens to him? And he's knocked unconscious. Junior leader wounded. That's a bad thing. It's a 2. That's no effect on morale. I'm actually just going to use the 1 for the mortar firing, because I'm going to use the 2 to bring on a medic and patch up the junior leader up here. So the French mortar, 3 dice firing at the advancing Americans there. And that's 1 hit. Americans out in the open. And that's a kill. Is it the leader? No, it isn't. I need to see whether it's the rifles or the bar team. I suppose I can select it because they're in the open, so I'll take 1 from the bar team. And over here, I'm going to say 2 rifles can fire. They're on the roof, and 2 through the window downstairs at the scout team, which effectively are in soft cover. 4 rifles needing 4. And that's 2 hits. Soft cover because they are tactical. Outcome of that is 1 point of shock. American phase. American double phase. 1, a 2 and a 2. Move this unit 2d6 through onto the other side there. And I'm going to fire with the 50 cal again. 2d6 movement is 6 inches. That's where the Americans finish. 50 cal needing 5s. And that's 2 hits. And that is 2 points of shock. And with 2 points of shock for 1 man. Oh no, it won't be 1 man because we've got the junior leader. So 2 points of shock. Second American phase. And I've rolled 2 1s, a 2, a 3 and a 4. With a 1, I'm going to fire this mortar at the French 75mm. I've got 2 points of shock. So I think rather than an effective 3, I'm going to use 2 dice, needing 4, 5s and 6s. That's 1 hit. Effectively they're in soft cover. And that's a kill. Let's just see if it's the leader. No, it's not. And with that, the 75mm gun is knocked out. We lose the gun. I don't think I'll lose the junior leader. I think he can separate. He's not wounded. We have the medic. We've just lost the crew. That's all. But we do need to roll a bad thing. Loss of a support. 4, I think it's a -1. In fact, with a support unit effectively being killed, it's a -2, so the French are down to 5. Right, the junior leader is going to take a point of shock off the unit, and then also order the whole section to fire, which it can, because the ones at the front can fire, well, the ones firing out of the window, and then we've also got those on the roof. We've got to fire at the whole section, so I'll have to work out the split in terms of who's under hardcover and which soft, but let's just work out the numbers to start off with. All of these will need 4s, with the exception of the submachine gun which is firing, so I'll roll this first, which is 5s. Okay, so that's 1 hit, bar team needing 4s. 1 hit, and then we've got a 1. The Americans can re-roll 1s, just once. That's no good. Then we have 7 rifles. And 7 rifles, we've got 2 hits and then 2 re-rolls. 1 being a hit. So we are firing at the whole section. So as the French are in cover, they can choose. So I'm going to say 2 of the hits are the ones on the roof. 3 are through the window. 2 on the roof in soft cover. 1 kill. 3 in the house hard cover. Nothing. The 1 kill, is it a leader? No, it's not. Right, the 1 and the 2 I've put as a 3, so the junior leader has ordered the bar team to disembark. The junior leader is staying on the half track to fire the 50 cal. Assuming that's okay for the rules, but that's the way I'm going to play it. And then we've got a 4, and with the 4 the senior leader is going to order both of these units to move, and to do so by advancing into this area. Unit closest to it, 2d6, 8 inches. Senior leader moves himself as well, up to 11 inches, behind 4 inches. So that's where we finish, and we're over to the French. Alright, so we've got an end of turn, so it's going to be the French turn next. They've got a 1 and a 3. Okay, so with the 3, the junior leader is going to order that machine gun to just manoeuvre and face towards the Americans. So it can fire next turn, but it needs to roll and move. And then with a 1, a well-concealed Hotchkiss machine gun appears. It's in a slightly elevated position, so it's going to fire on the Americans, who I'll still give soft cover, but it is in a slightly raised position. So I'm just going to manoeuvre the French. Well, that's anything but a double 1, well, that's fine. That's the manoeuvre for the French. They aren't firing in this phase. The Hotchkiss will fire. They won't fire. Hotchkiss, that is, won't fire in our second phase, but in this it's got 9 dice needing 4s, and that certainly looks like 4, 5, 6, 7. Americans are in soft cover, and so they're going to pick that the bar team is the green dice and the rifles are blue. Soft cover, but that looks like the rifles have taken 2 killed, and the bar team take 2 points of shock, also a point of shock there for the rifles. Check and see if it's a leader. No, it isn't. Second French phase. And we've got 2 points to the chain of command dice, 2 4s and a 3. Right, with the 3, I'm going to fire the 60mm mortar at the American unit over here. With the 4, I'm bringing on a new senior leader, a second senior leader, and he's inside the building. They have windows on each side, so I've got him on top of the stairs there. And with the other 4, I'm actually going to move the medic. Mortar, that is 2 hits. Bar team is the green dice, and it's a point of shock and a kill on the rifles. Is it a leader? No, it's not. 10 dice firing here. French across the units, machine gun, rifle, and rifles out the window. Downstairs needing 4s. Looks like a few hits again, so we've got 4, 5, 6, 3 and 3 in soft cover, green being the bar team. So what have we got there? So we've got 2 more points of shock on the bar team, a point of shock on the rifles. Actually a total of 7 shock across 8 men. Changed my mind on the medic, I'm leaving him here, so we're over to the Americans. American phase. 2 for the chain of command dice, taking it up to 5, a wasted 6 and a 2 and a 4. Right, the senior leader needs to take 2 points of shock off the bar team, and then order everybody to withdraw, which is going to be 2d6, and then we're going to minus 3 inches for the bar and 2 inches for the rifles. So the withdrawal is 2d6, the whole section, which is 6 inches, of which we can go 4 with the rifles, 3 with the bar team. To be honest, it doesn't get them absolutely out of dodge. You can still see them underneath there, so the French might be able to still hit them with firing. With a 2, this unit's going to try and get into, or at least towards, this building, one in the front here. 2d6 is 8 inches. That's not been great for the Americans. They do have at least still got a half track to give support for them, but the French are holding them back, and Americans have taken quite a lot of casualties. French phase, and we have 2 for the chain of command dice, goes up to 4, wasted 6 and 2 4s. Well, with a 4 here, I'm going to say the Hotchkiss can still see, and those on the roof, just not the 2 riflemen in the building. So I'm just going to say that effectively we're going to have 6 from the machine gun, not the 2 rifles at the back there, so 6 from the machine gun and 9 dice from the Hotchkiss. Hotchkiss needing 4s. Looks like we've got 4 hits. Give the Americans soft cover, and the green dice of the bar team. So that means we've got 1 more pin on the bar team, which takes them up to 4. French light machine gun. Again, needing 4s, 2 hits. There's the bar team again, so we lose somebody in the rifles. Is it a leader? Yes. 1, 2, 3, it's the junior. Yes, it is. And what happens to him? He loses a command. So a light wound, loses a command. Bad thing. There's a 1, nothing happens. I really feel that the Americans got away with 1 there, so that was fortunate. I think with the 4, the senior leader just orders the medic and the junior leader there inside the building. Just roll how far they might move, 7 inches, that would be fine. American phase. 4 1s and a 3. Right, I'm going to use the senior leader to. I'm going to put the 1 and the 3 together for the senior leader to take off 3 points of shock in amongst that unit, and then with the 2, I'm going to get the unit to move 2d6. So 2d6 of movement is 6 inches less, 1 and 2 inches respectively. Okay, so all told, the Americans can get out of that position and not get fired on. From there, it's a bit of a dissatisfactory position that they're in, to say that they're advancing, and now almost all of them are trapped into this position, but that's where we are. With a 1, I'm going to fire this mortar team 2 dice at the French, who have been firing over here, the ones who are on top of the roof. 2 dice needing 4s, and that's a hit. No cover, so it's a point of shock. So it's the French phase. French phase, double phase, end of turn in fact, and 1 to the chain of command dice, taking it to 5, and a 2. With a 2, I think the only thing we can do is fire from the top of this roof at the bar team down here. So I'm just going to do it with the machine gun, so it's 6 dice. 6 dice needing 5s is 2 hits. Americans are in the open, and we've got a kill and a point of shock. Is it the junior leader who's close by? No, it isn't. Now, before I go on to the next turn, I'm actually going to call the game and stop here, calling it as a Vichy French victory. I think realistically the French are in a defensive position. We have another section that can come out. They're secure here on this left flank. And I don't think I've done it particularly well in terms of how the Americans would realistically attack, and they're now really all crammed together here on the left hand side. However, I've got an element of unsatisfaction because I've got this M3 with a 50 cal where I could effectively just continue to fire, and the French could do nothing about it because there's no anti-tank element. So rather than do this, which becomes, I think in my mind, a little bit like a chess game, and as it's a solo game here, I think I'm just going to pause and redo another scenario in terms of Operation Torch, and perhaps what I might do is try and do something slightly differently, either a wider attack from the Americans, which might be more realistic, or indeed to have more variety on the table in terms of having 2 or 3 you know, tanks, vehicles, etc., and also anti-tank capability. So I'd just like to say thanks very much for watching. Appreciate all of the comments that you make on YouTube or on the Wargaming World Facebook channel. If you aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel, then please feel free to subscribe and come in with thoughts and ideas as we look at new scenarios and games to play in the future. So thanks once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.